So spring hinge screws. So when we're talking about spring hinge screws, this is one of those headaches that everybody has encountered before. Customer comes into your office and they're sort of just like, hey, can you fix this for me? It's just a screw, just replace it for me. And usually you take a look at it and it's a spring hinge temple and you tell them, okay, yeah, no problem, come back in 15, 20 minutes. Oftentimes when we're dealing with spring hinge screws, they tend to be the tough customers that come in, they're kind of breathing down your neck. A cheater screw or a spring hinge screw is a very, very simple method to kind of very quickly deal with that issue. And so, I mean, if you haven't dealt with a spring hinge screw before, it's typically just a screw that's shaped like so, either a crosshead or a flathead, which runs down. And usually, the spring hinge screw will be a half thread screw. So this section right here will be completely smooth, and then the thread exists here, and then you have a little bit of a sort of like a tapered conical shape over on the end on this side. That can either be a conical shape, or there are other screws that are just really, really long and it's just one straight wire that you can just break off and snap off at the end. And so essentially what you do with this is you just push it in as tightly as into the hinge in the housing as best as possible. That pulls out the spring hinge out of its housing and it forces the screw in and through. Right, and so very, very simple to use and quite easy to use. McCray has also developed a very simple method. It's called the spring hinge toolkit, where you can actually use a standard screw instead of a spring hinge screw, or the original screw instead of a spring hinge screw. And we'll do a demonstration of that as well. I'm going to do a really quick demo of exactly how to do that right now. And so you'll notice that this is a flathead screw. And all I'm going to do right now is to remove it, and then I'll show you how to reinsert that, okay? So from here, I place this down like so, and I unscrew the screw, just like that. And we'll remove that. And you can unscrew it the rest of the way, okay? And then we'll place this to the side, and then you can remove this like so. So whenever this is removed, you'll find that the spring gets pulled into the housing itself, and as a result, it's really difficult to remount this. And so from there, what we do is we have a wrench tool. And so we call this, I call it an L-bend tool, but it was debuted in Las Vegas, and my dad actually calls this a one-armed bandit. And so for this particular tool, you will work on the outside of the temple, and basically what you do is you will thread this into the actual hinge like so, or into the tool, and this will pull out the hinge from the housing. So let's see, it pulls it out, extracts it like so. And in doing so, you can hold it in one hand and then insert a pin. And so the pin is used to just prevent the actual hinge from going back in. All you need to do is place it here like so, and then release. And now it's in place. So then now we place it in like so. And then we take our screw, which is still held right here, and we place this in and turn it a couple times. So what that does is it allows the screw to catch the thread in the actual hinge, and then we can tighten this the rest of the way, just like so. And once that's tight, you flex that, and that falls out. And that's how you remount the screw. Some of the downsides of actually using this particular screw is that it doesn't work for everything all the time, and it's a little bit harder to use when you're kind of forcing it in, especially with somebody that's a little bit newer or isn't familiar with working with it. Definitely go with a crosshead, and if one side is a crosshead and the original is a flathead, just switch both. It just makes your life so much easier. Even if they end up coming back, at least in removing it, you can replace it with a crosshead. The downside of this is that it's a variable cost, and so over time, as you're using it over and over again, you're just constantly spending the money to continuously buy new screws, and it becomes a little bit costly. The spring hinge toolkit, as a fixed cost, it's a one-time expense, and then you're kind of flying. It works on every single type of spring hinge temple, and it makes your life a lot easier.